Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Monday Night Mars stream. I'm David Harada. I'm the Director of Artist Relations here at the Marsh, and we're glad to see you all here for this evening of new work that that is just coming into the world, thanks to David Ford's Creating Your New Work performance class. We have something going just about every night here on the Mars stream. We actually have another show going simultaneously with this one that you're obviously not seeing. That's Joshua Raoul Brody's Beatles sing-along that we do a couple times a month, and that's a lot of fun. So if you've got a free Tuesday night some other month, by all means, check it out. Wednesday night is Solo Arts Heal. That's this week. We've got Lance McGee talking about his work with clowning as a therapeutic tool, and that's Wednesday at 7:30. Thursday night is Stephanie's Mars Stream, the interview program run by our own Stephanie Wiseman, our founder and artistic director. And this week she'll be talking to Brian Copeland. We've got one performance left this month of his terrific show about his dealing with depression and suicide, the waiting period. And that's this coming Sunday. He'll be talking about that as well as about his holiday-themed show, The Jewelry Box. Both fantastic shows. Highly recommend it. Friday night is our double game night. There's bingo with Josh Kornbluth, followed by Smartest Person in the Room, hosted by Don Reed. They're both part game show, part improv comedy by two masters of the form, and that's Friday night. And again, this weekend, our solo performer spotlight is Brian Copeland's The Waiting Period. So it's all on our website, themarsh.org. We do all our programming for free. So if you can support us through our tip jar, there's a link in the chat. I'll pop that up in there again for those of you who just joined us. And again, if any of you happen to have been looking for Joshua Raoul Brody came to this link by mistake, I'll be putting the link to Joshua's show in a few minutes. I'm sort of juggling everything. I'm your tech, I'm your house manager. I've done everything but the most important thing, which is bringing these works to light. So I'm going to introduce you to the man who has made that possible, Mr. David Ford. Take it away, David.
Hi, welcome to the Marsh, which of course these days means welcome to, well, in this case, my living room. And the houses of performers and creative persons all over the world. One of the things I've noticed about these days is people are remarkably prompt. Shows start on time, have you noticed that? But we're going to have a show tonight full of new work. This is all work that, a couple months ago did not exist. And I think that's always a little bit of a miracle. A couple of little things about tonight's performance. We're going to leave a couple of them unmuted so that the performers get to have the benefit of a little bit of auditory feedback. And also, I wanted to mention that one of our performers tonight has a piece with three very distinct characters. And so you'll see that there's a little pause between each of the characters. That's Diane Barnes' show. And otherwise, welcome again to our show tonight. And I'd like to start by introducing our first performer tonight, Theresa Donahoe.
August 30th, 2020. 64 days until Donald Trump's possible re-election. Magic 8 Ball. Is Donald Trump going to win the election? Ask again later. Ugh. Well, Mississippi to Mississippi. Magic 8 Ball. Is Donald Trump going to win the election? Ask again later. Oh, I know. Twitter. Twitter, is Donald Trump going to win the Michael Moore, someone pull the fire alarm now. Trump is ahead of Biden in Michigan. Danger. Oh God, I knew it. I should never get on Twitter. It totally stresses me. Pumpkin spice lattes are back at Starbucks. What? I need this. September 8th, 2020. 55 days until Donald Trump's possible re-election. I receive a newsletter in the mail. Dear friends, our nation is in trouble. Morally, politically, racially, spiritually, and some in government are trying to whittle away at our religious freedom. What can we do? On Saturday, September 26th, I'm holding the Prayer March 2020 in Washington, D.C. I'm asking Christians from across the nation, help me fill the National Mall with prayer. May God richly bless you. Franklin Graham. Franklin Graham, you know, the son of the Reverend Billy Graham and supporter of Donald Trump. Oh, right. You're probably wondering, how did I get on this mailing list? Okay, well, you see, I'm a Christian, born again and everything, but I do not agree with the fear-mongering in this newsletter. No, I don't think that someone is trying to whittle away my religious freedom. No one's gonna declare Sharia law if Biden wins the presidency. And no, face masks are not the new burqa. The fear-mongering in this newsletter, it works on some people. September 14th, 2020, 50 days until Donald Trump's possible re-election. My Christian friend Marie posts on Facebook. To Christians, reminder, Donald Trump is not our savior. He's a flawed human, but he's been God's saving grace towards us. God bless the USA. God's saving grace? From what? I don't respond with a comment or an emoji. I don't have the emotional bandwidth. But it's okay though, because there'll always be somebody else who challenges these kinds of posts. Yeah, like the time that she posted that Biden had dementia, someone quickly corrected her. He doesn't have dementia. He has a stutter. Thank you. Like emoji. I remember when I first met Marie, it was years ago. She had a pretty dysfunctional upbringing, but then she made her way to my church and we became friends. We even took a road trip together once. It's 4th of July weekend, 2005, and a few of my friends make a 3-hour drive to Redding, California, to Bethel Church for a Sunday evening service. Yeah, that's right. This church rocks the flock in the morning and at night. We get there and the place is packed. There must be like 1,000 white people in attendance. I see a black guy. The campus is huge. They even have a coffee shop where folks can socialize before the service. I decide to scope the place out and I wander down a hallway. There's lots of rooms. They must run a school here. I peek my head through a window of a door of what appears to be a dance studio when I overhear a young guy say behind me, "You're a dancer, aren't you?" I've taken classes. I just want to let you know that the Lord says that you glorify him with your dance. Oh, thanks. The whole evening is like this. People going up to one another, encouraging each other. It's what they call a prophetic culture. Hey, I am all for giving each other words of encouragement. But sometimes it can be a bit much. I love your red shirt. It speaks to me. It reminds me of the blood that Jesus shed for our sins. Kind of reminds me of a blood orange sangria. Sangria, that sounds really good right now. I wonder if there's a taqueria around here. Oh, thanks. Marie, however, she eats this stuff up. It does. Your shirt totally reminds me of the blood of Jesus. I knew there was a reason why I loved it. Later that evening, Marie and I share a hotel room together. I start to not feel well. Marie, I have cramps. Oh, there's some pills you can take. Oh, thank you. Oh, I can't take pills without water. Here's some water. Oh, thank you. Oh, I can't take pills on an empty stomach. You can have half my sandwich. Aw, thank you. It's just kind of funny. Insulted, Marie throws the water in my face, and I just lay there in bed, dripping. Yeah, I had that coming. We had a good laugh. Those were good times. And now, she's voting for Donald Trump. September 23rd, 2020, 41 days until Donald Trump's possible re-election. What's that noise? Do you hear that? Oh, helicopters. What's up tonight, Oakland? Oh, it's getting louder and louder. There's got to be a protest.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
I can hear them, but I can't see them. Oh, I know. Twitter. Hashtag Oakland. Hashtag protest. Whoa! They're marching past the Grand Lake Theater, and they're coming right at me. Huh. Okay, they never march into this neighborhood. I mean, where are they going? Piedmont? Because that'd be awesome. That was loud. Oh, that must be the tear gas.
This is now an illegal assembly. Disperse immediately.
Oh my God, they're marching up my cross street. But that's a hill. You're going up a hill. You're gonna get kettled. And now they're getting kettled. And now, arrested. September 26, 2020. 28 days before Donald Trump's possible re-election. My Christian friend Lana posts on Facebook live video footage of the Prayer March 2020 in DC that Franklin Graham is hosting. The place is packed. Okay, this is not manipulated footage taken from Fox News. No, it's video from her iPhone. The crowd, mostly white, have come out in droves. Mike Pence is there. White evangelicals, they have the numbers. And yet, I didn't see any mainstream media coverage on this event. Why is that? October 2nd, 2020, 31 days until Donald Trump's possible re-election. Magic 8 Ball, is Donald Trump gonna survive COVID? Ask again. Ugh, this thing's broken. October 20th, 2020. 14 days until Donald Trump's possible re-election. Televangelist and failed 1988 Republican presidential nominee, Pat Robertson, declares on the Christian TV show, The 700 Club, that God told him that President Trump will win the election. And more than 5 years later, an asteroid will hit the Earth and maybe bring the end.
Yeah.
I just want to say, without question, Trump is going to win the election. That doesn't mean that you stay home and you don't vote. That means you go out and you do everything you can to work, but he's going to win. That, I think, is a given. It's time to pray. Yep, it's time to pray that an asteroid will just hit your house. October 22nd, 2020, 12 days until Donald Trump's possible re-election. John Piper, popular conservative theologian and pastor, writes an article about Trump and says, when a leader models self-absorbed, self-exalting boastfulness, he models the most deadly behavior in the world. He points his nation to destruction of more kinds than we can imagine. Piper is met with resistance from other fellow Christians. I love John Piper, but abortion is not merely one of equally relevant factors in this coming election. To equate Trump's sins with society's acceptance of the wholesale slaughter of the single most innocent little lambs this world has to offer is straight up bull. You cannot be a true Christian and not be pro-life. You cannot be pro-life and vote for the party that murders babies. End of discussion. End of discussion? What happened to meaningful dialogue? Doesn't it say in the book of Isaiah, come now, let us reason together. End of discussion for the white evangelical church is the problem. October 24th, 2020, 10 days until Donald Trump's possible re-election. My friend Jolene from LA posts on Facebook, Rodeo Drive is shutting down November 3rd and 4th. I checked Twitter. Is Oakland shutting down on November 3rd and 4th? I see nothing. October 26, 2020, 8 days until Donald Trump's possible re-election. On my daily morning walk to Starbucks, I see Eric, the happy homeless guy, outside the store. Hey, Queen, how you doing? Can you help me out? Hey, Eric, I don't have any change. Did you want something to eat? How about a pancake breakfast? I mean, from Starbucks. I can only pay with my phone. How about a brownie? A brownie for breakfast? This guy's got a sweet tooth. You got it. I come out with my coffee and I hand him the brownie. Thank you, Queen. You know you're my girl, right? Oh, uh-huh. See you later, princess. As I walk away, I overhear him approach another female. What's up, sugar? You know you're my girl, right? I thought I was his girl. Eric, he's a character. But if I'm being honest, it's a relief to see him back at Starbucks. You see, before the pandemic, I didn't really talk to him. I would occasionally give him spare change. Before the pandemic, I didn't even know his name. But then it happened and Starbucks was closed for weeks and he was nowhere to be found. And then when it opened back up again, he was still missing and I was starting to worry. And then finally, one morning in April, you're back. There goes my baby. You know you're my baby, right? Where have you been? Where have you been staying? In a car on 24th Street. What's your name? Eric. Hello, Eric. I'm Theresa. You know you're my girl, right? Donald Trump, 2019. Homeless people are living on our best streets, our best entrances to buildings, where people in those buildings pay tremendous taxes, where they went to those locations because of the prestige. Matthew 25:40. Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Tuesday, October 27th, 2020, 1 week before Donald Trump's possible re-election. I finish my ballot and I drive over to the less crowded, more affluent neighboring town of Piedmont to drop it off in an official drop box. On my drive back, I see a Trump sign. I don't know why I'm surprised. Wednesday, October 28th, 2020, 6 days before Donald Trump's possible re-election. I'm watching TV when ring in the holiday season. Peppermint mocha, caramel brulee latte, white chocolate mocha. Do you know what this means? Do you? The Starbucks limited edition holiday cups are coming. The holiday cups are coming. I wonder what they're going to look like this year. Will they have Christmas trees on them or snowflakes? Liberal snowflakes. I can't wait. What? I need this. Friday, October 29th, 2020. 4 days until Donald Trump's possible re-election. Did we just skip autumn and go straight to winter? Because it is freezing in my apartment all of a sudden. And when I go to turn my heater on, it doesn't work. I call PG&E, but they can't come out for like a week. That night, I wrap myself up so tight in my blankets. And then I remember Eric, the happy homeless guy who's living in a car on 24th Street. Sunday, November 1st, 2020, 2 days until Donald Trump's possible re-election. The holiday cups at my neighborhood Starbucks arrive in a box marked, "No picky." Monday, November 2nd, 2020, Election Eve. 1 day until Donald Trump's possible re-election. 'Twas the night before voting, and all through the town, they were boarding up windows in case it went down. Political lawn signs were mounted with care in hopes that the turnout would surely be there. Voters were hopeful, all snuggled in bed, while visions of Biden danced in their heads. The TV was saying, ahead in the polls. But knowing from last time, that means nothing at all. And this time tomorrow, will I hear a clatter of protesters marching because Black lives won't matter? Or will I be elated and sighing relief that the nightmare is over and start healing from grief? Whatever the outcome, it will all come to light. Happy voting to all, and to all, a good night. Thursday, November 3rd, 2020, election night. That evening, the early votes are tabulated and everything looks like it's going Trump's way. Oh God. Okay. This is what I mentally prepared myself for. I don't know, maybe it's the cynical Irish side I inherited from my father, but I am not feeling hopeful. I decide to meditate on one of my favorite Bible verses. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good report, if there's any virtue, if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. By the end of the evening, Biden is up ahead in the votes. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. But I'm optimistically cautious. Nothing will be decided tonight or the next night or the next night or the next night. Saturday, November 7th, 2020, 8:27 a.m. I wake up to news radio. Just a few minutes ago, both CNN and CBS have projected Joe Biden as the winner of this election. Is this really happening? Wait, you mean I don't have to anticipate protesting in the streets of Oakland tonight? Okay, it's just so weird not to anticipate that. All of a sudden, I hear celebratory howling coming through my apartment window. Woo! I go down the street to pick up my morning coffee. I see a woman strolling, ringing a cowbell. Guy strolling down the boulevard, blasting a song. F Donald Trump. It's not even 9 a.m. yet. My phone blows up from friends with happy texts. It feels like we just won a war. Like it's like the end of the movie. It's a Wonderful Life. I haven't seen Oakland this happy since the Warriors parade. There are people literally dressed like mailboxes dancing in the streets. In contrast, one of my Christian friends posts on social media. Let me state, I don't believe it's over until God says it's over. I will choose to believe the Lord's report, not ABC, CNN. Just watch. Prophecy is real. Monday, November 9th, 2020. The headline reads, Pro-Trump evangelical prophet apologizes for getting election result wrong. Serves him right, that cocky Pat Robertson. Oh, wait, it's not Pat Robertson. No. Oh, God, apparently now he's praying for Satan to stop convincing people that Joe Biden won the election. Oh, brother. No, it's California pastor Chris Valentin. Wait, I know who he is. I visited his prophetic church with my friend Marie in Redding back in 2005. It says he apologized on his Instagram page. I want to sincerely apologize for missing the prophecy about Donald Trump. It doesn't make me a false prophet. I prophesied that he would become president 4 days after he declared his candidacy in 2015. And I prophesied he would not be removed from office. I'm very sorry to everyone who put their trust in me. There was a major, major mistake. Well, I, for one, I'm relieved that he apologized. It takes humility to do that. But when I visit his Instagram page to see for myself, he's already taken the apology down because now he thinks there was a discrepancy in the voting process. He says he will put the post back up if it turns out he was definitely wrong. Somebody comments. Have you ever prophesied a Democratic president? I've never heard one from you or any other prophet, and it seems odd, as I know God, not to be a Republican or a Democrat. Mr. Valentin responds, yes, Obama, twice. November 23rd, 2020. I receive a mailing list for the annual Christmas card exchange I participate in every year. Okay, my goal this year is to fill my entire refrigerator from top to bottom with Christmas cards. And I leave them up all year long. What? I need this. I look over the address list. Okay, who are the complete strangers I'm gonna mail Christmas cards to this year? Let's see. There's a Carol in Alaska, April in Texas, Bonnie in Virginia. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to be exchanging Christmas cards with a bunch of Trump voters. A Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. I wonder if Pastor Valentin has put his apology post back up. Not yet.
Yay!
Good evening, and thank you for coming. Please make yourself comfortable, as I am, here in my kitchen, to read you my story. And if the glare of these new fandangled blue flame glasses, computer glasses, bother you too much, just listen. Pretend I'm on the radio. Hey, Fancy, we're going to move. I found us a new place in the senior living facility called Pacifica Oakland Heights. Not in the building, but one of those cute independent cottages. And they accept dogs, even 12-year-old 60-pounders like you, my beautiful black Labrador. In stature, Fancy looks like her tall standard poodle dad, but influenced by her Labrador mom, her curls are relaxed and they feel like dad. Allie's coming tomorrow to make some of her artistic measurement drawing. Nancy cocks her head in recognition. Yes, my adult daughter, the one who still gets down on the floor to play with you. At the cottage, Allie declared, Mom, the universe is looking out for you. This place is exactly what you wanted. A vintage cottage, a little porch, a bit of land to garden, and your own washer and dryer. In 11 frantic weeks, I downsize, prep, show, and sell my beloved home. Moving day is an extended family affair, but with still way too much stuff. In tears, I stay in the small living room until my wonderful daughter-in-law says, come back in 10 minutes. I do. Ah, a sweet space. With the grandfather clock, Daddy's desk, the TV, and wheelchair chairs, looking like they've always lived here. Nancy and I are beginning to adjust and make some new friends when the pandemic hits. Pacifica orders a lockdown. No residents going out, no visitors coming in. The imposing iron gates at the entrance stay closed. You need a code or an acceptable reason to be buzzed in, and everyone wonders, how long will this last? They say maybe a few months. Okay, well, this is March, April, May, June, July, August. Spring and summer, long and lonely with wildfires and gagging smoke. But then a breath of fresh air. Zoom. My son William sets up first contact. Can't hear you, Mom. Unmute. No, that's the video. I finally get it right. He smiles that dynamite smile of his, steps aside, and there's my gorgeous 12-year-old brother. Avery, wonderful to see you. It's been months. How are you, Mommy? Fine. Her 10-year-old brother Lucian paces impatiently, flashing grins and making rabbit ears behind her head. She talks about homeschooling and, oh, geez, I miss my friends and soccer and grocery shopping, which I used to hate. But Brandy, I'm reading a book. Can I read it to you? Oh, please. She reappears with her laptop. It's going to be 13 chapters, but I only have 8 done so far. And then I listen to this child, who I watched being born, who soon rode with me in the rocking horse I'd made over for her, and just the other day jumping out of swings and laughing merrily when she fell to the ground. And now, here she is, reading her with an intriguing dialogue. I am transfixed until she says, well, that's as far as I got. Avery, this is exceptional. Who else have you shared with? Just you. Randy, can you help me with my writing? Oh, yes, you bet. Meanwhile, every day I pass my CRV Honda, waiting faithfully in the parking lot. My 2001 black Jeep with its sassy wheel on the back. She needs a back. But more importantly, Jimmy at the auto place tells me she needs new tires, and probably more when you finally get her in here. Geez, Jeannie, she's an 18-year-old woman. I know. And her insurance cost me $175 a month, and another $50 just to park here. And plus, sad to say, I really don't like it anymore. Especially since that freeway accident just a while back. And if I can't go out for a few months anyway, hey, Jimmy says, let me sell it for you. That'll give you money for lift rides, and I'll take care of all the paperwork. My guys can come pick it up tomorrow. Such a deal. Huh. How can I refuse? At the car, I flip up the back seat. It always stays down, covered with a dark blue blanket. Perfect space for Fancy to stretch out her long legs. Geez, how she'd love to get in the car and go with me. Anywhere, anywhere. The grocery store, the gas station. Best of all, up Skyline to the trees. Or run in the woods. All those good smells. Her long ears flop in the breeze. I take out the blanket, a favorite toothbrush, and personal items and have courage to talk it over with Fancy. Jimmy's guys the next day. I put on my mask, the new norm, and go out to the car. One fellow says, "Oh, this car is a classic and clean." I hand him myself a keepsake photo. And then feigning an upbeat position, I drape my arm over the tire in the back. Click. They jump in. The accelerator turns over. I know that sound. That's my car. They're on their way out. And I wave as the door close behind them. Dear God, I just wave goodbye to freedom. My walk is unsteady as I go to the main building for the mail. A few feet away from the reception, I see an elderly woman, probably my age. She's sitting in a wheelchair, pulled up close as possible to the window. On the other side, a young couple on the deck sit as close as they can to the window, eating cheeseburgers and sharing a paper container of French fries smothered in ketchup. The woman gingerly sips a milkshake. Her snow white curls have been carefully combed. She's dressed for the occasion. A lovely, looks like new plum-colored robe with a white ruffled collar. Mom, You look wonderful. No, she doesn't. She's hell of thin, and she's wearing way too much makeup. I remember strawberry milkshakes were your favorite. Yes. Thank you, son. She's not drinking much of her milkshake. Instead, her eyes are laser focused on her adult children. How's my garden doing? Well, not as good as when you were taking care of it. It misses you. We miss you. Drink your milkshake, Mom. You really do look good, Mom. Forgetting my mail, I race out of the building. Back at the cottage, I call my son. William, let me tell you, I will not, you hear me, not ever, and you've got to pay attention to this, I will not spend my days lingering in a wheelchair in a room, in a building. You must understand this. He says nothing as I rage on. Occasionally I detect an intake of breath, maybe a muffled sob. Finally, abruptly, I hang up. Emotions and tears spent. And then it comes to me how gracious, how mature and hell of difficult it must have been for him to let me vent. And it's not supposed to be like this. I'm a mom. I think about calling to apologize and say thank you, but I don't. A few days pass when I get an early morning text from him. The kids want to have another Zoom session, and this time, Lucian goes first. Hi, Brandy. He's so gorgeous. He and his sister with their daddy's large, expressive, dark, very, very dark brown eyes, a legacy of his biracial African-American heritage. Lucian, you know, my love, on this Zoom screen, I can see how much you and your sister are beginning to look alike. Oh, no. After some awkward queries, I hit the jackpot. Been doing any drawings lately? I'll be right back. Again, I watch in amazement as this young boy shows me a sketchbook of penciled images way beyond his years. Detailed make-believe automobiles and airplanes with aeronautical detail. I first recognized his stellar artistic talents just a year ago when he made at my request a drawing of Christmas morning for our center's holiday grandchildren's art display. His pencil drawing of a noble fir with shaded branches of fine needles and no ornaments stood out among the other typically colorful elementary school paintings. His was posted at the entrance to the show. The next morning, William calls. Lucian wants to have another Zoom session with you today. Why? Well, he said because we only talked about me and my stuff and not about her. Okay. Well, I can tell him about grappling with this technology to conduct my first Zoom storytelling class. You know, Lucian, how I hate this computer stuff and how I admire and envy you kids who just intuitively know how everything works. In July, in spite of numbing frustrations, I do host a successful Zoom class. And after 4 months of separation, oh my God, it's thrilling to reconnect with my storytelling friends and be part of their creativity. Meanwhile, Fancy, bugged with my being on the computer all the time, gently nudges my office chair, but only occasionally. She seems to comprehend how important this is to me. Mostly she keeps her aging complaints to herself until she can't. Arthritis worsens. On walks at times, she simply stops. With cajoling and gentle back massages, she holds her head high and begins again attempting her usual canter. Really willing to eat now, eating people food, and that damn cough is back. Okay, my little girl, I get it. You've been so patient through these crazy months. I recall a coughing spasm you had when the move was just getting underway. My realtor, Danya, had called about a promising young couple who wanted to see a house like in a couple of hours. The place was in shambles. You started coughing. An alarming ailment the vet said could be a heart cough and should be tested. I got down on the floor, cradled your face in my hands, and pleaded, Fancy, you cannot leave me now, because when you do, I will have to crash and burn, and I don't have time for that now. You stopped coughing. And thereafter, whenever you'd start, I'd just give you a look and you'd do your very best to muffle through it. You stayed with me through all the moving upheaval and transitions. You managed adjusting to life here with no backyard to play ball and run free. The condensed space in our small cottage without the blue couch or the dining room table that opened up to fit everyone for celebrations, and you'd get so excited with your woo, 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 woo. I'm sure you wondered what had happened to all our neighbors, because here there are just strangers, old folks like us. But on our frequent walks together, you made people smile. Charmed by your exuberant greetings, we made new friends. An old ex-Marine fellow called you his therapy dog. And thank God, Fancy, you were here on March 11th. When I got home from my last day of storytelling at Stagebridge, after 24 years as a student and teacher, you recognized my heartbreak and stayed especially close as we watched CNN report that the pandemic is now official. Together, we have grown weary of our isolation, with no friends, no family, no kids coming to visit, and we don't go anywhere. Remember how excited you were when I brought your wool blanket in from the car, and how dejected when I said, no, baby, no more rides. Through all these wrenching changes, you stayed with me, my comfort and my joy. But now, it takes 14 phone calls before I find a willing mobile veterinarian in this time of COVID. Early on the morning of August 7th, Dr. William Martin comes to our cottage. A visitor. Fancy is thrilled. We meet on our small porch and sit down. He on a wide screen, me on the edge of the rocking chair. Fancy happily moves between us, swishing her long tail. Preparing syringes, he asks, how old is she? 1 week, from being 13 and a half. An exceptional age for such a large dog. And I've had her since she was just 3 months. She was so small then. Your birthday is February 14th, Valentine's Day, and I've always thought that was one of the reasons why she's such a lover. And I think if I just keep talking, I'm going to sedate her now. Overhead, please. At the needle's prick, Fancy flinches. But instead of jerking an aver, she freezes with questioning, wounded expression. Her beautiful eyes lock on mine. We've always had this amazing eye contact. Carefully, she moves closer and places her large head on my lap. Soon her front legs begin to buckle. But she keeps reasserting her head onto my lap until Dr. Martin says, "You must help her lay down now before she falls." One more shot. And then I witnessed this stunning, instant passage from her being so full of a loving life to possessing no life at all. So now it's time to crash and burn. Unspeakable grief. But as the world turns, good things happen. Promising vaccines, the elections, a commander-in-chief with a glass-shattering vice president, a woman, a Black, multiracial woman, an administration cabinet, experienced people who reflect the rich diversity of our country and my family. It's a large one. William and Allie, my biracial biological daughter, 6 African-American stepchildren, their mates, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, 54 of us at last count. The 2020 protest marches took me back to the 60s, meeting the man, the patriarch who became my husband, John Nathan Haynes. At that time, a young, brash corporate representative dressed in a 3-piece suit, Black and proud. But different from the 60s, there's a new racial reckoning now, worldwide. All ethnicities, straight, gay, old, and young, like my granddaughter, Amelia Grace Gordon. I treasure the photo that Allie texted me of her daughter at age 14 on the steps of the Alameda City Hall addressing a protest gathering. Amelia, a striking redhead with massive curls, tall, confident, with a microphone in hand, standing up, speaking out. Hope. Poet Emily Dickinson describes it as a thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all.
Yay! Yay!
Well, yeah, they call me Papa Josh around here. Not just my children, had me 5, but the whole town of Newberry. Guessing they've been calling me that for the longest, even before Mama died. I'm her oldest boy. There was 5 of us, but only Richard, got that one they called Dick Man, and me lived to be old. Oh, Dick Man, he was something else. Pulled a knife on a white man. Of course, they took him to court and told him, apologize. Man say, I ain't sorry. Give me another chance and I'll do it better. And that boy lived to tell the story. Dick Man. Oh, everyone around here knows us Davenports. I goes down to the store, I pulls up a stool and talks with any one of them. Nobody never say nothing about no color to me. I talks to everybody. White folk, black folk, the black ones. Oh, they still so sorry, can't catch no breaks. Still sharecropping on their old plantations. Raggedy, shoeless, no land, no nothing. So I always shakes their hands, press in 2 bits. Remind my chillins too, we've been lucky, but you got to take care of the less fortunate. Now see, there's white Davenports, black Davenports, and then there's us mulatto Davenports. A lot of us look white enough, make white folks think twice, especially since surrender. The white Davenports mostly left town. Oh yeah, my papa owned us, all of us. My mother, all us chillin'. Wasn't no secret. Oh, well, he ain't never said nothing. Nobody do. Which you can't hide nothing like that neither. Not round here. Some say his father was father to my grandma too. Bought her and well, but I don't know about that. Except in how we all look. Sure could have been. I know she was good looking, even old. 'Cause she was half Indian, so she never really looked old. But he was fair enough with us as far as them things went in them days. Takes a big man to be fair. But that Gilliam Davenport, well, he was with us anyway. Course, he weren't right with the black ones. No siree. We all his kin, work in the house, do the blacksmithing, carpentry, horseshoe, and all that. But the field niggers, well, he was just like the rest of them. Fast with that whip and stingy with the food. But he never sold the one. Said if he ever had to, he'd have to sell the whole family because you got to keep families together. But he couldn't afford to lose that many folk. I don't know. In that way, he wasn't like them other white folk. Maybe because he wasn't so close with his kinfolk. Maybe because he ain't had no white woman. Don't reckon I know. He did. Left us to his white son, Napoleon. Of course, when he died back in 61, I was only 11. But mama and us kids, we was family. And sure enough, when we was freed, we got 200 acres. No mule. Ain't nobody around here. That General Sherman. If anyone got any mules anyway, they was probably all broke down army surplus. But Gilliam livestock and all went to his white son. He had lots more than 200 acres. A big share of that Davenport land grant from King George III. That's right. Mama always said we's descended from royalty. I don't know nothing about that, but I know what we got. Some good cotton growing land. Me. Oh, I love to farm for myself. Cotton is king, but I grows corn and wheat and hay, mostly to feed the livestock. I got cattle, pigs, turkeys, duck, chicken, and a horse, of course, and vegetables for the family. For the flowers, oh, that's my job. Oh, she's so proud of her blue roses. Farming some hard work. Sun up to sundown, and all that walking. You got to soak your feet in kerosene to toughen them up. But then, ain't nothing stop you. Farming's an honest living. And having that land, when I needed a wife, of course, I needed to find me a gal with some property too. That's how it's done. So I found me a fine looking gal. Straight hair, fair skin, from the other side of Route 34. Built her a 2-bedroom house with a porch all the way around with my own hands, then carried that gal right over the threshold. Well, after me and my missus, Mama Sally folk call her, after we had our children, we meant to have them educated. No more slavitude for us. Got to learn to read and write. I had some schooling from that Freedmen's Bureau school, but it did not take. When that old Rosenwald came around talking about building schools for the colored, first one in Newberry, South Carolina, built right here on my land with my own hands, the Davenport School. That's right. And that's where my children went. Grandchildren, too. Well, Winifred, Carolyn. Oh, there's too many of them to name. And all my children, I sent to Hampton College. Yes, sirree. Told you there's money in that cotton. Well, not the oldest, Winifred's father. He was one hard head, ambitious, but school, wouldn't do nothing to get along. Not with school, not with folk, not with farming, just hard-headed. My girls, they both school teachers now. Leo, he didn't finish, didn't matter. That boy liked him some dirt, and he run the farm now. Fred finished, but he liked that dirt too, so I set him up for farming too. Oh, I'm not sure what happened to that white Napoleon. I think maybe he over in Lauren County on some more property. One son ain't much family for a farming man, even if he do have 60 slaves. Oh, my mama? His mama. She weren't around. Maybe she come from Louisiana and went back. Maybe she died. I don't know. I know she had 3 other children with Gilliam, but they all died. Only just Napoleon were left. And my mama, she was the onlyest mama he ever knew. I ain't one for much talking. But seeing as my son Josh done spoke his piece, I better be speaking mine. My children, old and they children. That's what it were all for. What were in her head, you probably thinking. Well, I tell you, a seed can't choose where they be planted. They drop where they drop. And if that soil is hard and rocky, you can shrivel up, or you sets your roots where you is and grow like a wildflower. You get what you need where you lie, or you die. Sometimes ain't nothing to do but bide your time. But you always got to be ready for a fight. I tell them children, your job is to know when and how to beat them when you does. I ain't had a lot of choice about a lot of things. No choice. No choice. They can sell my body, bed me, put babies in me. But this right here, you only get in if I want you in. And this right here, ain't nobody getting inside but me. They can call me what they want, do what they want. It won't touch me. I stands up straight. I looks them in the eye. And even that Gilliam know. Listen, he want to bury another woman and 3 more of his babies? Better do right. That's right. I knew freedom were coming. If it weren't coming in time for me, it was sure coming for my children. They was gonna be free, one way or t'other. They so close to white looking, them people up north wouldn't even know. Hell, county, next county, they wouldn't know if they ain't know our name. And I ain't saying I want some to be no white crackers. I just want some to know freedom. Oh, Gilliam said he was gonna. Well, he ain't never set us free. Union Army did that. Then we free. No place to go. Old Massa dead. His kid's still a kid. No money for no overseas. Turned out colored folk everywhere. Ain't nobody got nothing to eat and won't, unless we grows it. So we done took over. Ain't nothing ever come out this soil excepting by Negro sweat and blood anyway. Or as I see it, all this land be ours. My boy Josh couldn't read, couldn't write, but knew everything there was to know about running that plantation, from sitting on his daddy, well, old Gilliam knee, driving that wagon, watching the planting cycle, watching that lash. Couldn't read no books. Surrender came too late for that for him. But ain't nobody this side of the Saluda River read people like my boy Josh. You read people and you know how to work your land. You don't need no pen and paper to write your own story. That's right. Them white folk feeding black folk to make them work just for sport. Lordy, I can't tell you half of what I see. But my Josh, he know better than that. You lets a man have his dignity, his family, he gonna work to feed him. Gosh, he even outsmarts the Klan at their own game. They come riding around Saturday night wearing them hoods, but he know they eyes. He know who work for their mamas and their sisters, who cook their food, and he calls them out. Stands on the porch with his shotgun, dares them to make a move. They can burn that cross if and they want. But that's all they'll be burning around here. Now, look here. This the fine wench you've been waiting for. Best of the lot. No better way to ring in the new year than to make this one your own. Start the year off right. Take her home tonight. Not even 15 years old. Look at her. Purty, ain't she? If you like your darkies on the light side, or you got a hankering for quadroons, well, they don't come finer. Almost look like people, don't she? Turn around, gal. Be light on those feet. Now, look at that skin. High yellow, and none of that sheep wool on her head. Now, I know we already inspected the merchandise, and a couple of you had your doctors do it too. So you know she's sound, free of disease. Everything's good for breeding too. And she's always been in the house. You have them soft hands. Go on, gal. Know what your hands can do. Well, she ain't gonna show you everything right here. That's for when you takes her home. And look at them titties. She ain't been used yet, but I'm sure she'll be one fine breeder. Them titties will nurse a baby if that's what you do. Or if you have something else in mind, well, them titties be there for whatever that is. But she cheerful and of the highest character for a Negro, right? You happy, wench? Gal? You happy? Yes, sir. See that? Like I said, been a lady's maid. They say she embroider and sew. Like I say, she good with them hands. And you all know, Honest Jim ain't never lied to you. Now, look here. I want you to pay good notice of her back. Not a mark on her. This one gal smart enough not to get herself whooped. She knows how to please her master. Don't you, gal? And ain't no mistress ever laid a hand, or maybe I should say a whip, on her neighbor. So, get yourselves ready to build, because there's not a finer lot this side of Carolina state line. Now, I know a lot of you have been waiting for this one. I see that money burning holes in your pockets. Let's get started. $600, and I get $600. Was that my maternal great-grandmother Sarah's backstory? Could well be. As my 89-year-old great-aunt says, they did not talk about those things. Their truths are buried deeper than their graves. What I do know, at his death in 1861, William Davenport's estate inventory listed my great-great-grandmother as the head of her family of 8, with 5 children and 2 who may have been grandchildren, valued at $5,200, or in today's money, $152,000. The land his white son Napoleon inherited, valued in excess of $20,000 at the end of the Civil War, would have been confiscated for redistribution to freed blacks if Lincoln's order hadn't been rescinded by Andrew Johnson. For Papa Josh, my great-grandmother, Mama Sally, no paperwork and few stories. She too was said to be half Black and half Native, but with no birth or marriage certificates for non-whites, government Native removal, and tribal disenrollment of mixed bloods, no way to know. The 1880 census lists her as mulatto, but she appears in the census only because of her Black ancestry. Native Americans were excluded from the US Census prior to 1900.
Mm.
Oh, and the only part of Lincoln's order not rescinded applied to native lands. Slave-owning native tribes who fought with the Confederacy lost their land, divided among the Black freedmen.
May 23rd, 2011. Floyd and I have to release Sabrina, our 13-year-old German Shepherd. She's the 6th dog we've had together in our 25-year marriage. Floyd is a dog in Chinese astrology. So I've been married to dog energy, doggedness, for 25 years. Floyd starts putting dog ads next to my favorite chair. I make a couple calls, but nothing pans out. It's okay, Nancy, it's okay. I feel like there's dogs under every tree. I'm sick of burying dogs. It's okay. The next day, there's another paper with dog ads by my chair. This goes on for 10 months, and we've never been 10 days without a dog. Summer 2012, we visit with friends who've just adopted Reese from a shelter. Peter tells us that Reese doesn't like men, that they were told she'd been abused as a baby. Doesn't seem to matter with Floyd. She loves him. They're shocked, and Floyd loves her. I think you need to get Floyd a dog, Chris says. And she helps me go online, and I find Shadow at a Marysville shelter in California, about 5 hours from where we live on the coast. 135 pounds, German Shepherd, St. Bernard. Floyd, you gotta come look at her. My God, she looks just like Hans. Same coloring, brown and black and gold, and those cute floppy ears. She's beautiful. She's too old and she's too big, Nancy. I'm gonna call the shelter and tell them if she's still there next Saturday, we're coming. 135 pounds, Nancy's not going anywhere. I'm sorry to be so negative about it. I know, Sweet Pea, that you need a dog. Dogs are like children to you, like the children we never had. But I just can't face burying another dog. Mark tells me that he's taking dogs to Petco the next week. Other dogs, not Shadow. And he'll be back around 2. We get there at 2:15. Nancy, I'm glad you made us come. She's gorgeous. I barely stopped the car when Floyd's out, bolting toward the long run where they have her in front of the building. I see a man come out, and he joins Floyd and Shadow at the gate. She's nosing to get out. By the time I get into the office, Floyd is sitting on the floor with Shadow's long body right up against his knees. Mark's got a bunch of paperwork, Nancy. I tell him you're the one that always does that kind of stuff. I just sat down at his desk when this couple walks in with 2 kids. That's your dog? Looks like it is. We have a lot of dogs back there in the inner run, Mark. You just go look at them. You'll find one you like. I haven't not even given Mark our number or our address. And they're back out. And they look very longingly down at Shadow. I finish the paperwork and write the check, and it's very clear that Mark's been checking us out. To be sure, we'll be good owners. Shadow girl, we found you a good family. I'm glad. And you be taking good care of them like you did of me. I'm gonna miss you, girl. And he bends down as he pets her head, and her face is up there. It's like they're kissing. We leave, and I say to Floyd, did you see that? That couple had come for Shadow. 5 minutes later, we wouldn't have her. This is meant to be, Floyd. She's our dog. You and your omens. You could find an omen under every bush. Shit happens, sweet pea. We got there, we got her, she's ours. For better or worse, till death do us part, like we said. Shit. That means, I never thought about that. That means I could have to bury you. But you say I'm a pain in the butt. Well, you are a pain in the butt sometimes, but you're my pain in the butt. And I love you. You're lovable, just like this dog is. Did you see Mark? He was almost crying. Floyd walks Shadow while I spread a blanket in the back seat where Sabrina used to like to lie. They come back. Shadow's eyeing that back seat door very longingly. But Floyd lifts the hatch and says, no, we're not having another princess dog. It's enough that you're a princess. Up, up. Shadow looks again at the back seat, but she knows an alpha voice when she hears it. Floyd, she's too big. Only after she loses weight, we can let her get in the back. Up. And she does. I pet her head. Poor girl. Good girl. Nancy, she's fine. We got a long drive. Let's get going. What do you think about her name, Floyd? Don't you think Shadow's a weird name for a dog? Floyd's a weird name for anything. I got stuck with Floyd. She got Shadow. Just take it. You don't change somebody's name when they're 21 years old. I'm going to stop at Petco, Floyd, and get some food to add to what Mark gave us from the kennel, and some treats and a toy. She doesn't need treats. Like you said, she needs a diet. When I come out from Petco, Floyd and Shadow are sitting on the back of the car. His arm is around her and her face is up against his. I've decided you're right. This is stressful for the poor thing. Give us some treats. She takes the first treat and gobbles it like she hasn't eaten in days. No, he says. Gentle, you be gentle. The second one she takes with little lips like she's a puppy. Good girl. You're a smart girl. And he gives her a third. Shadow and I are looking for a fourth or a fifth. But he says, enough. Time to get on the road. The last 60-some miles to Mendocino are very windy on a narrow road. And I'm worried about her. I don't know, maybe she's going to get car sick. So I keep looking back to be sure she's not throwing up or looking over that back seat. Keep your eyes on the road so you don't hit a tree. She's probably asleep if you didn't disturb her. I figured out she's a lot more chill than you and I are. She's just fine. Get us home, because tomorrow we got to get up and give her a hose bath. All that dirt they've let her collect. The next morning, Shadow endures the hose bath, but it's very clear that a fine spa treatment would be much more to her liking. 3 days later, my cousin Joyce calls to tell me that her mother Terry has died. Terry was my mother's favorite cousin and became like my second mother after my mom died. I gotta go, Floyd. You'll come with me, right? Nancy, I'd like to. You always make a road trip fun, even if we've been on the road before. But I'm just too tired. I'm too sick, Nancy, to sit in a car for that long. Even though I'll worry about you. You drive much too fast when I'm not there to follow you and keep an eye on you. Floyd, last thing I say is, Floyd, keep a tight rein on this dog. We don't know her. She doesn't know the woods. Keep an eye on her. I come home Saturday night. Floyd is at the dining room table, his head down, his shoulders slumped. It's dead quiet. You're gonna kill me. You're just gonna kill me. Shadow ran away. You're gonna have to get in on that computer and do what you do. You mean to say you didn't put up posters? You didn't do anything? Did you even make any calls? You have killed our dog. She's dead out there in the woods somewhere. How could you do this? 135 pounds. She can take care of herself. I'm sure she's just fine. You're just going to have to deal with it and put up some posters. I want to keep screaming. You killed our dog. You took my baby. But there's no point. I do get up the next morning and I make posters with the best description I can muster. We're not cell phone addicts, so I don't even have a picture. I put up the posters on every bulletin board in Mendocino and on the posts on Main Street. My friend Jennifer calls me that evening. I saw your dog on Facebook, Nancy. I don't do Facebook either. So she sends me the link. Yeah. Shadow has run away into the woods. I recognize the name. Janet has taken her in. She posts how much the grandchildren love Shadow, that they're going to keep her if they can't find the family. Then Shadow ran away the next morning. Monday, I call animal control. Yep, Shadow's in doggy jail. They're not open, but they email me the picture of her mugshot. It's Shadow, that long tongue hanging out of that big happy mouth. They're closed Monday and Tuesday, so I have to go 2 more days without my baby. Wednesday, it feels like they're walking me past hundreds of cages before I see her, and I want to hug her. No, you go on the front, I'll bring her. I'm up there paying her $498 bail bill. When they bring her to the office, she puts her hands up on that counter, looking out in the waiting room, looking for someone to rescue. The St. Bernard energy. Walking out, I say to her, Shadow, I'm real glad you're back to rescue us. When I have to stop for fuel at last windy 60 miles again, Shadow takes that big body from the back of the SUV across the seats to the front seat. She's amazingly limber with that big body and gracious. When I get back in, she puts her face up on my cheek. I'm not doing that again, Mom. Bad idea. And all the way home, she manages to get that big body into the front seat, keeping her eye on me the whole time. We settle into a routine. I go to teach each morning. Shadow and Floyd stay home. One afternoon, Floyd has a story for me. I went in and got my paper, just like always. I come home. Guess who's sitting at the front gate? Clearly saying, what were you thinking to leave me? Just like all you were. She left me lots of work. She clawed at the drywall to get that door open upstairs. And of course, the downstairs went that flat hand up, no problem to her. Boy, it's clear she wants to be with us. She's not a stay-at-home dog. We're just going to have to take her. Oh, dear God. Why me, God? Another princess to take care of. That night, Floyd's made us a delicious beef and vegetable stew for dinner. And I noticed that Shadow's portion is much bigger than mine is. 4 months later, human death strikes the family. Floyd's 57-year-old niece has died Sunday afternoon while her mother, Floyd's sister Fritz, is waiting for her to come for dinner. I told Fritz, I'm not going to the funeral. I can't take another funeral. But she's your favorite niece, Floyd. Fritz understood. I just can't do it. 3 weeks later, I come home and find a note. Fritz has had a stroke, and Shadow and Floyd are in Reading at the hospital. When I call the family that night, I get his youngest niece. Nancy, Floyd is a mess. You gotta talk to him. I tried to tell him. Mom is older, she's tired. She said to me, Dink, I've lost my husband, I've lost my grandson, and now my daughter and friends. No, it's too much. But Floyd's not getting it, Nancy. 6 days later, Fritz dies. At the funeral, Floyd is clutching my hand. Tell me I don't have to go up there and talk. I can't do it. I lead him to the front. I should have died and not your mom. She was 7 years old. When I was born, she was always there for me and always there for all of you. She got married when I was 10 and had all you kids. She'd let me come stay there as much as I wanted. She was always there for all of us. We need her alive, not me. I should have died. I'm holding his hand and I say, I need to tell us a happy story. The day after your father's funeral, Floyd was just this unhappy, and of course your mom was. But I said, it's beautiful today. We've got to get out and do something. Let's go up past Shasta Dam. Let's go to Quincy and walk by the river and have lunch. And we did. And you know your mom didn't shop much, but she found this sweet little crystal angel that she said reminded you of her dad. And it made her happy. And when we got home, she hugged me. Remember, Floyd? And she said to me that that was one of the best things that anyone had ever done for her. It's hard. Death is a bitch, and life isn't easy. But your mom and dad, your sister Floyd, they would want us to go on. We got to do the best we can, be as happy as we can for them. And all the nieces and nephews came and hugged Floyd. And they said, Uncle Floyd, you're like our brother, our big brother. We need you. You gotta stay alive. Floyd didn't listen to them, and he didn't listen to me as I repeated it. I can tell because Shadow's gaining weight that he's not walking her while I'm gone to school. And Floyd's fellow carnivore, she looks real worried when I don't have any food, meat, or soup to put over her dry food. And Floyd is sitting, most evenings, just sitting listlessly in his chair. The books open on his lap or fallen to the floor. I take down from the wall a favorite portrait that was painted by a local artist group, a group that always has people come pose for them. Floyd, look at this poster. Look at the portrait. Remember, George, look at it. You have the most distinctive features, your chin and your nose and those bright blue eyes. They loved painting you, Floyd. They want you to come back. Look at this. There's no answer. And I pull Shadow closer to my knee and I say, and Floyd, what about me and Shadow? Are you going to do to us what Heidi did to you and me when her brother died? Her litter mate, she wouldn't go on, she wouldn't eat. I know you and Fritz were close, but you can't do this to me and Shadow. There's no answer. I take a leave of absence when summer comes, hoping that if I'm home, I can get Floyd more energetic, that I can get him walking, that I can get him eating. I don't eat like I used to. I'm just getting old. I'm just not hungry. And no, don't mention the doctor again. They don't know anything, and I'm not going to a doctor. I'm just fine. Wait, you're not fine. but he doesn't listen. July 2014. He has declined and he's in bed. He's hovering, I know, between life and death. I'm desperate. I call a body worker healer friend. And Fran tells me that his kidneys are so weak he can't live or die. She tells me I have to hold his kidney points and his lower back. I go in and say, Floyd, you don't have the 18, but I'm going to do the best I can. And I recite a Rilke poem that he and I often read when we lost dogs. Lord, we are more wretched than the animals who do their death once and for all, and we are never finished with our not dying. And Floyd gently nods his weak head, and his hand moves toward my arm. I wake at 5 a.m. and find that Floyd has died in his sleep, and I see Shadow right up against him on the bed. When the Mendocino volunteers and the coroner have left, I take Shadow for that walk she needs. But we don't get far before I sink to the ground and sob into her fur. That night, I take that favorite portrait down and put it near me, and I swear Floyd's eyes are moving. That sardonic grin looking at me. Shadow comes close beside me, and her eyes are moving around the room. You feel it too, don't you, baby? Our alpha dog is still here guarding us. Shadow is the only reason that I get up the next morning or any thereafter. If I try to turn my face to the wall, she puts that face up on me, up against me, and says, no, Mom, I need to eat and I need to walk. Get up. I'm going to therapy more often now. And Shadow goes with me. And if I start to wail and sob, she goes right up to the therapist, gets between his knees, right up against his face. Luckily, he likes her. You gotta do something. I hate it when she cries, and we only come here so you can take care of this. Do something. And if I get up to go to the bathroom, Shadow follows me, and she's right there in front of the door when I come back out. Those guardian eyes upon me. And a friend says, Nancy, I know David who lives on your lane. I told him about you. And he says, Nancy? And she said, yeah, she's tall and she walks this big dog. Oh, Shadow, he says. We know Shadow. We all know Shadow. Yeah, she's a presence. She's not just her big body, but that face that keeps her eyes on you and wants to take care of everybody in sight. She's my whole life, Karen. She's all I have, I tell the vet. She looks at me with great concern. Months later, last April 25th, 2020, Shadow breaks her front paw above the elbow. And when we go to have it set, Shadow, very happy to have it set, but Karen is looking at me with deep, deep concern because she knows what's ahead. 11 and a half, Shadow's back legs are already declining from arthritis and old age. The only reason she's moving as well as she is because we walk 4 or 5 miles a day in 1.5 mile spurts. Shadow and I are both shocked at how fast those back legs atrophy. But she knows that mid-May I've got big events and she wants to be there for me. May 15th would be Floyd's and my 32nd wedding anniversary. May 17th is the birthday of a dear friend who died last summer. And May 18th, that's the big one. Shadow was 70 last December. Didn't miss a beat, but I am not looking forward to being 70 on May 18th. Shadow keeps her eyes on me and listening as people call. And she loves those dishes of ice cream that I share for each occasion. The next day, she makes it clear she's done her duty, she's done. I call the vet to arrange for Karen to come with the text. I ask a friend to dig a grave for her out under the redwoods and the ferns where I can see it through the slider from my favorite chair. The last night, Shadow, always a big eater, pulled herself toward me in the kitchen and ate a big meal, a big bowl of the last soup that I'd made for her. Then she dragged herself right back to that slider and put her nose right against the glass. The next morning, when the text came, she licked their hand and their face. They are her friends, and she knows they've come to help her. They carry her to the grave, and she gobbles those vet cookies she likes as the injection takes hold. My last thug is I'm holding her. As her nose is in the air, there's gotta be one more cookie somewhere. And she's gone. And they text lower her in the ground. I throw in the first dirt, and I am right at the edge. And Skylar says, Nancy, be careful, you're about to fall in. I know it sounds wrong, but it's what I really wanted to do. I just wanted to lie on that dirt next to my baby. Nancy, she didn't have a mean bone in her body, Karen said. No, Karen. And I got a million mean bones in my body, a million. She was my psychological shadow. All the goodness and the kindness that I don't have. I'm worried at how mean I'm going to get. I did. I got real mean at me. I don't like to cook anyway, but I stopped cooking altogether. Strawberries, yogurt, cookies, crackers, lots of coffee. I don't like to go walking. It's a small town and everybody loves Shadow. I'm at the food stand one day buying my strawberries, and this woman I don't even know comes up and says, I haven't seen you walking your dog. Is she okay? I died, I say. And I'm shocked even as I hear it. I do feel I died. Many days I stay in my robe. I lie by the grave and cry. I cry myself to sleep. It's pitiable. Friends try to tell me to move on. And in the fall, Floyd and Shadow come to me in dreams. Shadow is happy. She's swimming away in this beautiful blue pond. I know she's saying, Mom, come on, you find a pond to swim in. And Floyd, in one dream, he brings a moving truck. And it's clear he's saying, time to move on, sweet pea. I know I have to. But I'm stubborn too. I don't want to. There is no one here to take care of, and I don't like being alone. This continues this pitiable state till Tuesday, November 17th, the 180th day of mourning Shadow. And when I pull the box of coffee filters down, I see up on the cupboard the last of the little bags of dried beans and lentils that I used for the last soup I made for Shadow. And there's a jar of tomato sauce there. And I know that there's some onion and carrots and who knows what other vegetables dying in the crisper drawers. And I have no idea why it's that morning and not some other. But suddenly I decide that I'm worth the effort to make a pot of spicy bean and vegetable soup.
Yay! Yay! And thank you all very much for coming to the show tonight. And I'd like to thank the performers. And be sure and come and see all the other great shows that are happening here at the Marsh pretty much 7 days a week. Check it out. Thank you.